Ranking videos are all the rage these days, so I have a question for all y'all. What is the best version of the ultimate dwarf song? Diggy Diggy Hole. This song came from a Yogscast video in Minecraft and took on a life of its own. They actually created the first full version with an orchestral background and animation. And it makes one wonder how this became so iconic. After all, it's just a silly little ditty. On the other hand, it is 100% earnest. And I would like to point out how much this fits specifically with the Discworld dwarves, where, due to the dangers of mining, dwarven society evolved with no sense of imagery or deception, as all communication must be honest and clear for safety purposes. And so, in this situation, why would they not just sing about how much they loved being dwarves? Now, a quick break from our sponsor. This video was brought to you by nobody. Nobody pays me nothing to do these, so buy my book, Murder in the Inferno, available from Amazon. Alright, enough banner. Let's get back to ranking. The first is, of course, the original. Strong, clear vocals, good instrumentals, and an animation that's quite touching for having such a bare-bones style. I nearly shed a tear when it looked like the Dwarf King fell in battle, and him happily sitting the toddler on his lap at the end is always a treat. And the second major one to be made was Windrose. This turned the classical, almost folk medley into full heavy metal. Personally, I love the instrumental version of this, and I even convinced my wife to put this on her workout playlist. Third, we have Clamvi de Profundus. They did this for April Fools, and were clearly having a lot of fun. And there were lots of little tweaks that they did, like using actual token lettering. Now the animation style is stop motion and very silly. However, I'd like to point out that's the first and only animated video they ever created. And it has a plot. And while it's slapstick, it actually did make me cry. In the climax, the city dwarves save the day by bringing modern mining equipment. As some of you know, I'm an engineer, and I'm used to being vilified in fiction. I expect that my profession will be treated like sly sludge destroying things for the sake of destroying. And to have a line of caterpillars come in to save the day is genuinely touching. As far as the musicality, it's beautiful. Most specifically, they added a secondary line of keep digging in the final chorus, which gives that little extra oomph to the ending. And the only real negative I have is the censorship. For some reason, Clamvi removed all the birth imagery, notably suckled from a teat of stone and grown inside a rocky room, which is just unnecessary. It's the only thing that brings me back on this. Going forward, Cole McGuinness is the only major solo attempt at the song. It's another metal performance, with McGuinness performing every one of the instruments itself. Also, it's a live video with sole focus on him performing. Similarly, Richard A.B. and Jonathan Young collaborated on a metal performance themselves, with a heavy focus on Richard's guitar and Jonathan singing. Here, they gave up any pretense of costuming and just went all in on the rock. Then, most recently, the Longest Johns invited hundreds of fans to a group sing of the Dwarven tune. This has wonderful harmonies due to the sheer number of voices involved, so it's the only true choral performance. And my only caveat is that the Johns decided to hold back on their bass that you see in the other lead dwarves, leading to a more harmonic feeling, more of a church and less like a tavern. So, in conclusion, I like them all. Each performer brings something new and interesting to the song, and I can tell that each of them were sung in earnest and great joy. Though, a ranking I promised, and a ranking I shall deliver. So, the worst. Unfortunately, I think this has to go to McGuinness. He has a powerful bass, but I just don't think this song works as well as a solo rather than a group. His performance also suffers from unnecessary voice modulation, what I call the Galadriel effect. While I give him heavy props for playing and voicing all the parts themselves, It's a testament to the others that he is this low. In fifth, here I have to put the Longest Johns. Now, this surprised me a bit, given that they are one of my favorite groups. However, while the performance is beautiful and the breadth of people that they got to sing, I just don't feel the power that is key to this song. Especially towards the ending of the song, there just wasn't a sense of growth. You just repeat the same chorus multiple times. You need to grow or shrink or move or something. Well, it just kind of lingered. Moving on, in fourth, here I'd put Young and Rashad. Now, it was Rashad's guitar that really put it a notch above the other two. However, I couldn't bear to put it further up, since they didn't even try to do any form of costuming or story. Next, Windrose. While I'm not the biggest of heavy metal fans, I have to respect what they did in transforming a song from more or less musical theater style into a heavy metal theme. Let's be honest, the other rock versions wouldn't exist without them. And I also enjoyed their music video, with the forge and mining imagery adding to the effect, even though there's no overarching story. Then, in second place, I would put Calamity. What put it over the top here was really the storytelling. Yes, it was a simple cartoon. They touch my heart and mind and bring entirely new effect and tale to the story. I also have to respect how far they deviated from their usual style and how much they went for sheer humor, including the epilogue of the elf who's filling in the hole. And then finally, I have to say that Yogscast's original animation is the best. It's classic, bold, and strong, while being simple and honest. It's so iconic, in fact, that I suspect Calamity and the Johns may have changed their usual style to not be seen as merely copying. However, that is exactly the style that this song benefits most from. It's a statement of being, accepting perfectly what you are and celebrating it without any real adornment. And sometimes, you just can't beat the original. Keep digging, y'all.